send me a racist email by accident and then rant at me when I politely warn you to not do it again? Enjoy those pink slips, guys. So, my first plus last name is both common and commonly used by racist duckers, mostly in the Deep South, to name their kids. And through a combination of genetics and upbringing, those kids tend to grow up to be racist duckers too. Because it's so common, there's almost always been another person with my same first and last name at any place I've worked. Most of them are not racist duckers. But this isn't about them. This is about a different guy. A guy with some seriously ducked up friends. I should mention that we're all used to getting misdirected emails. It's inevitable when you have a common name. You basically just figure out who it was meant to go to, forward a copy to him, and CC the person who got the address wrong. Easy peasy. Hardly ever happens twice. Once in a blue moon, you get something inappropriate. Fine. I get it. People can sometimes be rude in private. When that happens, I add a little note to the CC letting the sender know that it is not okay to be a racist ducker and that if he does it again, I will go right to his employer, if it's from a work email, and ours, since the recipient is from my company. The result is pretty predictable. I get back a humbly worded apology and a promise to never let it happen again. So, it's effective, and maybe even a teaching moment. Nah. Who am I kidding? They probably just triple check the email addresses the next time. But you take what you can get, I guess. One time, though, my very politely worded warning was not well received. I got back one extremely vitriolic response from the sender accusing me of being every derogatory name in the Klan handbook. I was invited to perform impossible sexual feats upon myself, commit suicide several times in a row, and all manner of other colorful stuff. He cheerfully told me all about his, actually quite impressive, home arsenal, most of which he would gladly allow me to shove up my ass and pull the trigger. So yeah, the dude was apparently upset about being told what he could and couldn't write in a business email. I think I could even have let that slide, although I probably wouldn't have felt very good about myself afterward. But then my same named coworker decided to add his 2 cents. They were a much milder 2 cents. But they weren't exactly cordial. Essentially, he told me to mind my own business and stop reading his emails and that it wasn't my job to be, and I quote, the email PC police. To tell the truth, I was a little stunned. He never so much as let out a peep when I did the same thing for his other racist ducker friends. And plus, we've just all been through a company-wide mandatory diversity training class where there was an entire module about how not to be a racist ducker on the company email system. Maybe he thought the cartoon his racist ducker buddy sent was so well drawn that it should get a pass. I dunno. I was a little pissed, though. Even if the racist ducker wasn't intelligent enough to know that vile shit like that is offensive all on its own, he should at the very least realize that it put our employer at risk. Be an asshole on your own if you want to, but at least consider its effect on your paycheck. And so that's how I ended up taking a short walk up to the HR office with a printout of the original email, the sender's double-down response, and my same-named coworker's annoying defense of his racist ducker friend. Calls were made. By close of business that same day, I was, for the first time, the only one at my employer with my first and last name. That would have been the end of it. But it turned out that, being a huge GovT contracting company, we actually had a business relationship with the sender's employer. The sender wasn't involved in that business relationship, but our ethics committee decided it was enough that emails had been exchanged for it to be necessary to inform his employer. There was some company-to-company communication, and I had to participate in a conference call where I explained about there being two me's and the racist ducker thinking I was the other guy and the offensive email and response, etc. But the TLDR of it is that the sender got canned too, and the police where he lived were informed of the threatening language used, i.e. the mention of his guns. I don't know if they ever followed up on that. But I'd like to think that somewhere in a filing cabinet with a manila folder marked racist ducker with a printout of that email. One can hope, anyway. TLDR, 1 racist email plus 1 politely worded warning plus 2 angry responses equals 2 racist duckers out on their asses. Now to the comments. We had a guy at work do nearly the same thing on his work email, but instead of being racist he was sending sexually charged messages to female employees, saying what he'd like to do to them during lunch break etc. He was all shocked when they pulled up 6 months worth of dirty emails all sent by him. That was the fastest I'd ever seen anyone pack up their desk. Jesus Christ, how ducking dumb can you be to make firearm threats from the company email? I mean, once you're willing to double down on your racist comments from the same company email address and think that no consequences can happen. If our society wasn't as safe as it is now, natural selection would have taken care of this guy long ago. You're thinking in the wrong direction. If our education system wasn't so terrible, fewer people might grow up to be racist. In fact, there have been studies that shown education strongly correlates with tolerance of others. If you're racist and you're fired, it's your fault. Carrot clap clap. If you're racist and you're fired, it's your fault. Carrot clap clap. You were caught being shit, and then doubled down on it. If you're racist and you're fired, it's your fault. Carrot clap clap. I sung this in my head, it was amazing. It's sad that workplaces actually have to have trainings on how not to be a racist ducker on the company's email. Liability. They can't fire you unless they told you what exactly was inappropriate, and why, and that their response would be to immediately fire your ass. Edit, perhaps the responders have never heard of wrongful termination and / or unemployment compensation. Firing you is almost never just about firing you in the US. Almost everywhere in the US is at will employment. They can literally fire you for being too nice, following the rules too well, making the company too much money, or no reason at all. The liability is for being sued because of what their dumbass employees did. Can't sue us for harassment done by our employees. We told them not to. Only thing disappointing about this is the lack of the words racist duckers in your TLDR. OP replied, fixed. Why thank you sir. Now it is absolutely glorious to behold in its entirety. What kind of names would racist ducks name their kids? Cletus White Supremacy Klansman 4, at your service. Brown Hader. As a gun owner and staunch gun safety advocate, I'm very glad you did this. If anyone threatens you with a firearm, tell the police. Guys like this do not appreciate firearms nor respect them. Duck them, hope he gets them all taken away one day. They are the ones perpetuating the redneck yokel waving their guns everywhere to compensate for their other issues, that give the rest of us a bad name. I used to work with a guy who would throw racial slurs around, thinking we'd all think that way too just because we are white. I put an end to it, and although everyone else agreed with me, I was kinda shunned for being a rat. I didn't mind. Anyone who thinks I did the wrong thing by getting a racist punished can suck it. You know dang well the two idiots didn't learn their lessons. They're probably blaming the blacks and the race traitor for getting them canned. OP replied, well, if nothing else, I learned a new term. Race traitor is apparently an actual thing. Googled it and everything. Wow. I'm surprised you didn't know that. I figured it would be somewhere in the tirade. I was invited to perform impossible sexual feats upon myself. That's a very nice way to put it. I was invited to perform impossible sexual feats upon myself. I recommend yoga and rib removal surgery to make those feasible. This guy perverts. It's nice knowing that premeditated justice happens once in a while.